This is page 1 of your Quad EQ test review. Number 1 says the length of a house is 3 feet more than its width. The area of the house is 1,720 square feet. Which equation can be used to find the dimensions of the house if W represents the width in feet? So I am looking at my answer choices and I can see that I am only setting up an equation. I'm not solving for anything. So we're going to start by highlighting. I can see that we are talking about the area. So we are setting up an equation for area, which means area equals length times width. So this is the formula or equation that I need to fill. So what is my area? Start with that. The area of the house is 1,720 square feet. So that goes here. Okay. So the next thing is my length and my width. Let's start with the width. Let's identify that. So I can see in the last sentence it says which equation can be used to find the dimensions of the house if W represents the width. So it's saying W represents the width. So if I ask you, what is the width? It's W. W represents width. So very simple. W is width. So anytime I see width, I'm just putting W. Okay, so this is going to help us with our length. Now our length, it says this part at the very beginning. It says the length of a house is, here's our information, 3 feet more than its width. Okay, so I always like to take the words and try to turn them into numbers and variables. So we know 3 feet, so 3 feet more than is going to be my plus sign. So 3 feet more than 3 plus its width. Well, what did we say width was? W represents the word width. So when I see width, we're just going to put W above it. So we just wrote that expression, 3 plus W. That's what my length is. So for length, we're going to write 3 plus W in parentheses. And now I am done writing my equation, so I'm just going to find which one best matches this. And be careful, my answer would be C. Even though mine are switched around, they still mean the same thing as long as they're together. W plus 3 is the same as 3 plus W. And that's number 1. Number 2 says the area of a rectangle is represented by the equation where W is the width of the rectangle in inches. What is the width of the rectangle? So for this first problem, I'm going to solve this one by using the box, and for number 3, I'm going to solve it using the quick way. That way we can know both ways. So for number 2, if I am solving using the box, I have to make sure that it's set up correctly in standard form. Is this set up in standard form? Let's see. W squared is my A value. Just W, so 3W is my B value. I have my equal sign here, and just a number is my C value. So are A, B, and C all together on the same side? No. A and B are in the correct spots. However, C needs to move right here next to B. So how do we move a positive 54? Negative 54. So we're going to take a negative 54 on both sides. So when I do that, we're going to rewrite the equation. A stays the same, W squared. B stays the same, 3W. And now C moved to the other side and became a negative 54. And my equal sign, now on the right side of my equal sign, we have a positive and a negative 54, which when we add those together, 54 plus negative 54 equals 0. So now this is in standard form, and now I can move on to the box. Step 1 of the box is to check for GCF. So when we type in GCF, parentheses, you're going to type in all the numbers. W squared is 1, comma, 3, comma, negative 54. And my GCF is 1. So when I have a GCF of 1, I can move straight into the box. So we're going to do that. Here is my box. Just going to draw it down here. When we draw our box, we say first term, first box. So W squared. I'm just going to zoom in for y'all here. Then we say last term, last box. So negative 54. Now, in order to find the two missing boxes, we're going to create a table in Desmos. So I like to draw the table over here. And in our table, we have to type in A times C. So we're going to go label. This is A. A is 1. B is 3. And C is negative 54. Don't forget your signs. So when we multiply A times C, we have 1 times a negative 54, which is just negative 54. And we're going to put that over X. So I'm going to type that into Desmos now. Negative 54 divided by X, cogwheel, table, and we're going to do the same exact thing. So I like to copy this, Control C, Control V, but we're going to add X to that. So on my paper, we're going to rewrite it same way, but plus X. Okay, so now in this last column, we're looking for B. So I'm going to highlight our B value so I can emphasize it. We're looking for B, which is a positive 3. So here's my table for y'all. Okay, and I'm looking for that in the last column, which I don't see 3 here. So I'm going to go to the first column and just press Enter until I do see it. There we go. So we're going to press Enter until we find a positive 3 here. There's a negative. And there's my positive 3. So the two missing numbers are 9 and negative 6. That's going to go here in our blank spots. So these two numbers go in these missing boxes. So we have 9W and negative 6W. So now that we've found our missing numbers, we're going to fill in the outside of my box. So I always like to cover up all of the other ones and just start with the first one. So how do we get W squared? Well, we multiply W times W. Okay? Then I'll cover those two, and we're working one at a time. W times what will give me negative 6W? Negative 6. W times what will give me 9W? Positive 9. Okay? But I'm not done yet. So I have to take my factors. In order to find a solution, I have to take my factors and solve. So I'm just going to write one of these factors over here, W plus 9, and set it equal to 0. So this is the last step when you're solving. So I'm going to zoom in here on that. When we solve, I draw a line down my equal sign, and I want to get W by itself, so I need to move this positive 9. How do we do that? We subtract 9 from both sides. Draw my line. W comes down. Positive 9 and negative 9 cancel out to 0. And now 0 minus 9 equals negative 9. So that's one of my solutions. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the other factor, w minus 6. So I'm going to rewrite that here. And to solve, we have to set it equal to 0. Draw a line down my equal sign. Got to move the negative 6, so we're going to make it a positive 6. Draw a line. W comes down. Negative 6 and positive 6 equals 0. And 0 plus 6 is a positive 6. Now let's go back to the question and what it was asking. The question says, what is the width of the rectangle? So is it going to be positive 6 or is it going to be negative 9? Your answer is going to be B, positive 6 inches. Because that's the reasonable answer. Okay, moving on to number 3. So for number 3, we are going to not do the box, and we're going to show you the quick way. So it says, what is the solution set for 5x squared equals 25x? So before we start, I want to make sure that all my numbers are on one side and it's set equal to 0. So make it pretty first. X squared is just a. We have an equal sign here, and just x is my b. So I want to get a and b together on one side. So a is okay here, but let's move b over here before we do our desmos. So how would I move a positive 25x? Negative 25x. Negative 25x. And remember, you're not combining them because they're not the same thing. X squared is different from x. So we're just moving b next to a. So a is going to stay the same. Bring it down. 5x squared. Now we're going to bring down our new b, which is a negative 25x, my equal sign. Now on the other side of the equal sign, we have a 25 minus 25, which is 0. Or 25 plus negative 25 still equals 0. So now it's set up pretty enough to type into Desmos and find my answer. Here's what we're going to do. Split your line down the equal sign, wherever your equal sign is, and you're going to type in the first half, y equals, type that in. So we're going to do that now. Y equals 5x squared minus 25x. When I do that, as you can see, I get a parabola. So I'm going to draw some colors here. Let's see. So when you type this in, we're going to draw ourselves a picture. This is what you get. A parabola. And we're going to color it the same color that we used here. Okay. Then you're going to type in the other half as well. Same thing. Y equals, type that in. So we're going to do that next. Y equals 0. And this is the line that you get. So we're going to draw that. We're going to change colors here. When we type this in, this is the line that we get. And in order to find our solution set, I'm going to click on where these two cross. So here's my parabola. Here's the line. This is where they touch. Two places, at 0 and at 5. So that's my solution set, the x values, 0 and 5, which is going to be answer choice D. I'm just going to finish drawing that here. 0 and 5. Number 4 says, which of the following quadratic equations has exactly one solution and that solution is positive? So I'm going to highlight that because there's two key informations here. It says it has one solution and that solution is positive. So it would take a lot of time doing the box for each one of these. So I'm going to do the shortcut way like we did in number 3. As you can see, these are all set equal to 0. So here's my smiley face because that means they're all pretty and they're all ready to go. So I'm just going to type these in Desmos as I see them. I'm going to split them all in half. And for each one, we're going to type it like so. Y equals. Okay, you're going to do the same thing for A, B, C, and D until we find our answer that satisfies both. So let's get started. For A, answer choice A, we have x squared. And then we have plus 8x plus 16. Okay, so let's look at our graph here. Well, here's what, I'm going to change this color here. Let's change it to orange. Okay, so here's my parabola. How do I know what a solution is? A solution is when they touch this x-axis right here. So how many times does it touch this x-axis? 1 time, which means that this one does have one solution. So far, so good. And I'm going to draw myself a little picture here for each one. Okay, just a rough sketch. And it touched 1 time, so we're going to draw 1 point. Now, where did it touch at? It touched at -4. That is my solution. Is it the positive solution? No, it's not. So A is not our answer. So let's try B. We have x squared minus 4x, and that's it. So let's look at our graph. How many times does it touch my x-axis? It touches 2 times, which means I have 2 solutions. So again, we're going to draw a picture here. Here's my parabola, and it crossed through twice. Okay, however, we were looking for 1 solution, and this one has 2. So this B can't be my answer. Let's move on to C. C says x squared minus 16. Let's look at our parabola. How many times does it cross my x-axis? 2 times, which means I have 2 solutions. So let's draw that again. This is what it looks like, and this is where they touched. We're looking for 1 solution, like answer choice A. This one has 2 solutions, so C also cannot be my answer. So D has to be my answer, but let's just double check. Here's why. We have x squared minus 8x plus 16. Okay, let's look at our parabola. Okay, how many times does it touch my x-axis? Click. It touches my x-axis 1 time. So I want to draw that on my paper. And here is the line and what it looks like. And it touched 1 time. Now, when we click, where did it touch? It crossed at +4. So it does have 1 solution, check. And it's at a positive solution. So D is my answer. Going to move on to number 5. Number 5 says, what is the positive solution? And we're going to record our answer in the box. So if you can do the short way, do the short way. We're getting close to star. We want to teach you all the tips and tricks, so do the short way. However, I'm going to show you that the shortcut way doesn't always work. So let's type it in. As you can see, it's equal to 0, so that's how I know I can do the shortcut way. So y equals 9x squared plus 16x minus 4. And the other half is y equals 0. Okay, so here's my parabola. Here is where they cross at the x-axis. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Touches here and here. It's asking for the positive solution, so I'm only looking at this number here. As you can see, 0.222 is not a pretty number, so unfortunately, we have to solve using the box. So we have to do the box method for number 5. Step 1 when using the box method is to check for GCF. Always, always, don't forget. So let's check GCF. Parentheses 9, comma 16, comma negative 4. And my GCF is 1, which is great because now we can just go straight into the box. So I'm going to draw my box here. Might want to grab some scratch paper so you have more room. And for my box, we say first term, first box, so 9x squared. Last term, last box, negative 4. To find the missing 2 numbers here, we're going to create a table. So I'm going to slide over and draw a 3-column table. When we create our table, we have to multiply A, which is 9, B is 16, C is negative 4. So we have to multiply A times C. So 9 times negative 4 in my calculator is going to give me negative 36. And we're going to divide that by x. So I'm going to type that in here. Negative 36 divided by x. Cogwheel, table, and we're going to write the exact same thing. So Control C, Control V to paste it, plus x. So this is what your table should look like. And in the last column, we are looking for our b value, which we said was 16. So I'm going to write 16 here. And it's positive. So as we can see, I have 16 already in that first box. And the 2 missing numbers are negative 2 and positive 18. Make sure you get the signs correct. That's going to go in these 2 missing boxes, so negative 2x and 18x. So whatever you find here goes here. Now that we have the inside filled, we're going to fill in the outside. So I'm just going to zoom in. Okay. I always cover up these boxes, and even if we have numbers here. And I just start with the x squared. How do we get x squared? We need an x times an x. Okay, but now you have a 9 here. So where is the 9 going to go? Which spot would 9 go in? So let's cover up one at a time. Okay. Is negative 2 a factor of 9? If I put 9 here, can I multiply 9 by something to get negative 2? No. So that means, let's cover up this side. 9 has to go here because I can multiply 9 by 2, a positive 2, to get a positive 18. So that means this is just 9 times 1 now. So going back, 1 times what will give me negative 2? Negative 2. So these are my factors. However, we are looking for the positive solution. So I'm going to highlight that. So in order to find your positive solution, we need to take our factors, the numbers and variables on the outside, and solve for that. So let's start with x plus 2. I'm going to do x plus 2 and set it equal to 0. This is how we solve. So I draw a line down my equal sign. I want to get x by itself, so let's move that positive 2 and make it a negative 2. X comes down. These cancel out to equal 0. And 0 minus 2 in our calculator, you can always check that. 0 minus 2 is a negative 2. So is this my answer? No, we're looking for the positive solution. So it has to be the other factor. So let's solve that one. 9x minus 2 equals 0. Okay, so we're going to split this down our equal sign. Step 1 is to get rid of the negative 2. Move it to the other side by making it a positive 2. Positive 2. Draw yourself a line. Bring down the 9x. Positive 2 and negative 2 cancel out to 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. But I'm not done. This is not my answer. Okay, we still have to get rid of that 9. How do we do that? We have to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 9. Make sure you write it out. Divide by 9. Divide by 9. My 9's cancel. X equals, let's see what 2 divided by 9 is. It's that 0.2 decimal that we were talking about earlier. So we're going to keep it as a fraction, which is still 2 divided by 9. That's my positive solution. Last question for page 1, number 6, says what is the negative solution? So we're going to highlight this. What is the negative? Okay, like I've said before, we're going to try to do the shortcut way if possible to avoid wasting time and doing the box. So let's see, is this ready for the shortcut way? No, it's not in standard form. So let's list out ABC. X squared is my A. Negative 9 is just a number by itself, so that's got to be C. Negative 3x is my B. So A is on the right side, C is on the right side, but B is not. So we need to move B to the other side where it will say A, B, C. So I'm going to draw an arrow where B should go. B should go right here in between A and C. So how do I move B to the other side? It's a negative, so we have to make it a positive 3x. And we're going to squeeze it right here in the middle, positive 3x. Let's draw our line and rewrite it. A is going to stay the same, so 2x squared. Now we're going to squeeze in B, which is a positive 3x. And C is going to stay the same, negative 9. My equal sign goes here. My negative 3x and positive 3x cancel out to equal 0. So now it's in standard form. And like I said, we're going to check to see if the shortcut way will work to save us time. So y equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 9. So there's my parabola. And now we're going to type in the other half, y equals 0. Here's my graph. We're looking for the negative solution, so let's click where they cross. Crosses here, and it crosses here. So again, we're looking for that negative, and it does cross at a pretty number, negative 3. So that is my answer, and I would write out how you got your answer. That way you know for later. We typed in both halves. Here's our picture. My parabola, the line, and here is the 2 points. This is the negative one, negative 3, 0. And that is my answer.